Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. I wanted to talk about how stock market volatility is pushing investors towards precious metals. I think it's one of the more interesting topics to, talk about since there is a lot going on. There's so many different economic and political factors at play right now in the world of investing, not only for precious metals, not only for stocks, but cryptocurrency and other avenues as well. But the stock market volatility thing is interesting because we're seeing a new side of money flowing into the world of gold and silver. And what is this going to be doing for the long term? Not only just the short term gains, but in the long term, the bigger picture. I want to look at the bigger picture of this and kind of dissect it to see where precious metals are headed. Because if we are getting a new demand, new investors, money that stays in the market, this could be huge for precious metals. Now, stock market volatility, it's a different type of thing we have to break down because you have to remember if you're in stocks, people that are in stocks are in it for the profits, for the day-to-day trading profits. That's how stocks work. So their mind state, their investing strategy, their selling goals, their time frames for buying and selling are much different than people that are investing into precious metals, especially the physical bullion form. So when I'm going to be correlating these two and trying to, kind of scoop those investors into this, market of precious metals, their ideas, their goals are going to be a little different than people like you and me that are in precious metals for the intrinsic value. Now they're probably going to be in it for a quicker flip or a quicker, marginal time period, trying to make quick gains as precious metals are rising, and then probably sell or capitalize on some profits as soon as it hits $19-20. So the demand might not be there, the money might not be flooding in for too long, but could that be enough push to start bringing worldwide notice of precious metals valuable asset that it brings to the table? That's an interesting thing to think about. I also want to talk about how when the people that are investing into stocks, they are from a day-to-day trading period, are they going to be understanding or learning about or even caring about the fundamental values that gold and silver have in the world, technologically and industrially? I'm curious because people that are in stocks, they might learn about the companies they're investing into, but it's more of a washed up, it's more of a surfaced type of investment. There's not as much sentimental value, and there's not that same type of push to strive into these companies or to be putting faith into these companies at the rate we do with gold and silver, since we see so much fundamental value that it brings and so much potential, so much undervalued potential that it brings to the table. There's the emotional attachment that stocks have, if you're investing in the Apple shares or whatever, isn't as strong as understanding the undervalued potential silver has in the technological world, or the value that it brings when you have your poured silver or some of your constitutional coins that's a piece of history that that reflects back to your childhood to some extent, or whatever the case is. It's a lot different. So if they do get into it, if they start understanding, it could be a longer term push or a longer term approach towards it, which could be very interesting to say the least. Now, if the tables were flipped, I would also be curious to see how that would work. That's just kind of as a joke, silver stackers getting into the world of stocks, because, we are much more patient people looking at it from an entirely different standpoint. But, to get back to the point though, I am curious what's happening because we see a 40% increase in coin shops and pawn shops, people selling their jewelry, their bullion, necklaces, rings, watches, whatever the case is. There's an increase in coin shops and people selling their stuff, capitalizing on some profits. So as they sell, the profits are more than likely going to be going into irrelevant stuff. But what if some of these people from stock market volatility, since the stock market's pretty weak right now, what if this new money goes into precious metals and stays in the precious metals. I've been talking a lot about silver supply right now being shortened, as silver is a bypassing product or a bypassing metal when they're mining lead and zinc and stuff like that. Thinking gold is more profitable, focusing more on that, not really any main silver mines. So the supply might not be able to meet the demand, especially as all of these new investors, as these new people, this new money is flooding into the market. Now, we know that low supply and high demand shoots the price up, but to what extent and what percentage of it is it will push the boat over? What's going to what's going to be, you know, what's going to be that last straw that pushes everything over to where, the tides are now changing in precious metals favor for not just a couple month period, where media talks about it for a couple months and next thing you know, precious metals are now in a bear market again. That's the stuff I think about because I'm trying to look from a fundamental but also from a futuristic standpoint. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can look at some of the things at bay, some of the situations, some of the stuff that's happening in the economy to foresee what's going to happen in the future. We can always kind of base it off of historical patterns, and the same historical patterns that were happening back in the 2000s that led up to $50 silver is happening now. In the 2000s, stock market volatility was at one of its highest times ever, you know, leading all the way up to $50 silver in 2011. Right now, we see the same things, precious metals rising, stock market volatility, driving people into the world of precious metals. So who knows? Who knows where silver's price is going to go? The sky could be the limit. I don't want to be I don't want to be a minimalist, but I don't think it's going to be $100, by 2020. But I definitely think within the next 5, 10 years, $50, $100 silver will not be an impossible feat to conquer. It's definitely realistic, especially looking at not even 10 years ago silver was $50, and there's a lot of new factors at play nowadays that could definitely be influencing silver's price over the next 5, 10 years, much at a much larger rate than when it was $50 in 2011. That's just some stuff to think about. I'm curious what you guys are thinking about this. I'm curious what your standpoint is on this. What are your views? Do you think the political side of it, the U.S.-China trade wars, is going to be a huge price motivator or influencer? Do you think the supply and demand surplus side of it is going to be a huge influencer? Do you think just the economic insecurity is going to be a huge influencer? Do you think, stock market volatility is going to be a huge influencer? What do you think is going to be some of the biggest things at play? Or is it all a little bit of everything? But I mean, everything, obviously, that's an obvious answer, though. That's more of a theoretical, question. It's more of, what is going to be the thing that pushes it over? Will it be the trade wars? Will it be a silver shortage? Will it be, stock markets dying and people flooding to find the next hottest thing that's going to make them a quick dollar? And it scares me if that's the case, because if you're trying to make a quick dollar, that means they're going to sell their dollar even quicker, meaning that money from precious metals will leave, before they even seen some real progression, some real appreciating prices. I definitely think no matter what, regardless of anything, precious metals are still going to be fundamentally more valuable than any asset that anyone can invest into, whether it's real estate, stocks, whatever it is. It definitely has more opportunity, more, potential for growth, especially in the long term, as it has real intrinsic valuable, real intrinsic valuable, assets and tangible stuff that's actually helping the world, whether it's technology advancing, the era we're advancing into, or even just, bullion, necklaces, jewelry. Whatever the case is, gold and silver definitely perform better and are more undervalued than anything else that I'm seeing nowadays. But You know, I'm just trying to throw some stuff out there to kind of, just throw in the loop of you guys and your stream of thought. I'm curious what you guys think about this. That's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing. I mean, it's not really written in stone. It's not set in stone. There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of questions, but I also like that because then it kind of keeps me open-minded and keeps me branching off into new thoughts. And, I try not to overthink it. I might be overthinking it a little bit, but I also do like that as well because then I'm also prepared for any situation to occur. It definitely brings a bigger picture, and it kind of takes the emotional attachment out of it when I can look at things realistically and just throw them out on the floor to analyze. But, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos. I posted another video earlier today. I know you guys will like, so go check that out as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon.